What are perfume notes? How do they work? And why are they important? Or in fact, are they important? Today, I'm going to tell you everything I know about perfume notes. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how to use what you've just learned to better navigate the world of perfumery. Although we've been going for a couple of years now, we are pretty new to the YouTube game, so if you like what you see, hit subscribe. So, what are perfume notes? Notes are a way of describing the various aspects that a fragrance has. You might think, oh, that's simple then, end of video. But sadly, it's not quite that simple, and there's a lot of contradictions out there, especially online, that could confuse you. So I'm going to make sure that you can properly understand by breaking the whole thing down and rebuilding it, starting with something I like to call the diamond construct. Picture a round, brilliant cut diamond. This beautiful shape is made up of lots of different shapes, each with their own name. And these shapes are referred to collectively as the facets of the diamond. Now, because you can't see a fragrance, it's easy to think of it as a single thing, something linear and simple. But in reality, if a scent was a solid, it would be much more like a diamond. It wouldn't be like a cube where all the facets are an equal size, because the facets would all come in different shapes and sizes, and some would be more prominent than others. But this is where it gets really cool. It's not just finished perfumes that have these multiple facets. If you were to break a perfume up into all of its individual ingredients, you would notice that each one of those ingredients also has many facets. And even crazier yet, if you were to break each ingredient up into individual molecules, you'll notice that each of those molecules has its own. It's like a diamond made of diamonds made of diamonds. And perhaps the greatest example of how complex this can get is the rose. There are 268 accepted species of rose, and of the scented ones, the scent of the most complex can be made up of up to 300 different components. This means that just this one ingredient can have an abundance of notes. And some of these can be described as because they literally smell of other materials. And this creates a sort of infinite mirror, because rose could have a honey note, and honey could have a rose note. Honey might also have a hay note, and hay might also have a rose note. It's these endless cross connections that make the world of fragrance so intriguing. But this all sounds incredibly complex. Aren't the notes just a list of ingredients that are used in the perfume? Well, sometimes yes, but most often no. British perfumer Sarah McCartney once phrased this perfectly in an interview, saying that
notes are not necessarily things you put into the perfume, the notes are the output.
Now yes, if a perfume contains real lemon, it probably has notes of lemon. But many ingredients don't exist as natural oils, and many that do can't be used because they might be unethical, harmful, or just not cost effective. For these reasons and more, ingredients are now often synthetics or made up of multiple other ingredients. So if most perfumes aren't what they say on the tin, isn't it a bit misleading to say it contains things that it doesn't? Well, there are three main reasons why a brand might resort to a simple list of notes. 1. Creative interpretation. There's a danger that getting too bogged down in the technicalities can strip away the artistic vision. Sure, in order to achieve that strawberry note, they had to use 6 other ingredients, but to the extent that the vision requires, it now has a note of strawberry. 2. Ease of understanding. Imagine saying to your friend, yeah, I've got this new fragrance. It's gamma-undecalactone, benzaldehyde, and ethyl vanillin. 3. It's just not that deep. You don't need to be a chef to appreciate a good meal. And the same goes for fragrance. Most people aren't and shouldn't have to be clued up on the way it's made in order to appreciate it. Despite what the internet might have you think, it is okay to enjoy things without having a PhD. But what if I want to use some of this knowledge to help me find a fragrance? Well, by now you know that when it comes to perfume, things aren't always what they seem. If you're convinced that a particular note works really well for you, then try multiple fragrances that report to have it in it. But trust your nose and keep these 3 things in the back of your mind. If you can't detect all the notes that are listed, you're not being an idiot. Lists of notes don't give you any idea of quantity. It might say it contains rose, but it might only contain a tiny weeny bit of rose. So if you can't smell it, it might not be you. It might just not be very present. 2. Notes are an impression of an artistic vision. It might contain the actual ingredient, or it might contain things that feel like it. Either way, if it works for you, don't overthink it. And 3. Don't go on wild goose chases. I appreciate that this point is slightly contradictory to this whole video. I would only try and find a fragrance based on a particular note if I was absolutely convinced that that is exactly what I wanted. Perfume is complex and there's so many variables, so forcing yourself to stay in one certain lane might be detrimental to your search. So, I hope now you understand the importance of notes, but also the danger of them. They can be useful, but they can be misleading. When we created Fiole, we did make it so you could search by note, but we also created a tool that completely strips away all of that complexity. If you want to find out more, hit the link in the description below, and if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe and we'll see you next time.